and welcome back. I hope you all have been doing great. So like always, I'm going to get started in a minute. So if you want, hit the pause button, go get yourself something to drink, and we'll get started. Right, so as you already know from the thumbnail and the fact that you're watching the video, that this is a video about designing with Ikea, an Indian kitchen, a very small Indian kitchen. I think the key word here is very small. So the current house that I stay in, the current apartment that I stay in, the kitchen is fairly decent size and very spacious and exceptionally functional, and it's an open kitchen. The one that we are planning to move to is almost half the size of the current kitchen. It's really small, and the fact is that it's really small, but it has a lot of light and air coming in. So I'm going to divide this whole into three segments. The first one is your process, second is the price point, and third is your experience. So first of all, the Ikea process is very streamlined. You do not have to know anything or be nervous when getting into it. It's a very friendly experience, and they pretty much guide you through everything. So you don't have to know a lot about stuff when you're trying to work with Ikea. If you have ever been to an Ikea store, the Ikea designing hub, the kitchen designing hub is where the kitchen is. So where you'll have all the gadgets, like the kitchen stuff, like the sinks and gas and everything. It will be tucked somewhere nearby. So I think it's also labeled very clearly. So just just get in there and ask someone for help, and you can get an appointment. Or initially what we did was we had called a number that was on the Ikea website, and then they called us back, confirmed a slot for us, and they send you an email. You take a printout, and then you obviously go for your first session. Now, because it was a COVID era, I think we first went initially last year, around November or December, if I remember correctly. And it was way before even we had done the registration of the apartment, but I wanted to make sure the kitchen is very functional and good. My current kitchen is amazing, but the problem is it has a lot of space, which I feel has been not very optimally used, because you could have more shelves and more things, and I think the way it's maintained can be improved. So when we got this kitchen, I had to make sure that every nook and corner is properly used and it's very functional. And also I have a lot of stuff in my kitchen. It's an Indian kitchen. It's used thrice a day. Somebody's always in the kitchen right now. So I had to make sure I could move all my stuff there, and I have a lot of gadgets, fans, like a lot. So I had to make sure I could fit in those as well. For me, I always thought when I went to Ikea stores, the way the small Ikea kitchens were designed were a wonderful way to ensure those small kitchens are also functional equally like the bigger sized kitchens. So I thought if I had to design a smaller kitchen, I absolutely wanted to go with Ikea. Now obviously I don't have to mention this is not a sponsored video, and this is completely my honest experience. As part of the process, when we got the call and went there, we worked with, we'll call designer number one. And basically you go with the dimensions, preferably a blueprint or picture, and then an idea of what you want your kitchen to be, how you want it to look, the feel of it. And then basically the designer will design the kitchen for you in their computer and show it to you in 2D initially and then 3D version. So it looks pretty real life. And then they'll take you around in the kitchen area and show you the handles and the kitchen appliances and things that you want to add. Now, because we mostly have all the kitchen appliances, we decided not to buy from Ikea because we don't need to. We'll just move the stuff there. But then yes, I think initially for the first part we weren't sure how the pricing worked and what we were working on. I mean, the designing looked great, but the price point ended up being a little higher. Given the space of the kitchen, it's really small. So that was designer number one, and then once the design was finalized, we came back and Ikea had sent one of their associates to actually come to the kitchen and measure out everything. So what they do is they come with a printout of the kitchen design, because everything is planned there according to the dimensions, and they will come and confirm that everything matches, and they'll tell you if you want to move anything, or any plumbing job that needs to get done, do you want extra lights or whatever, everything they'll tell you what exactly has to be done before IKEA teams comes and installs it. Once everything is done and you confirm, then you go for the finalization and the price payment and all that. So when we went for the second time for the design confirmation, we actually went to finalize and pay the amount, but we ended up working with another designer because the first designer was on leave, and it ended up being a way better experience because he seemed to know the IKEA products, the kitchen products way better. And just by working with him and making smaller changes here and there that we were not very aware of, but we were asking a lot of questions, we could reduce the price point, slash it exactly into half. So if you're thinking like just because it's IKEA the prices are huge, it's not. It's even if you compare to the local carpenter, you can do your own research and get things done. We had also talked to a local carpenter and he was charging exactly the same money. I'll come to the price section in the next segment. That's what I'm trying to avoid saying it here. I'm just talking about the process. And he was quoting the exact same amount with way less functionality. So it just made more sense and convinced us more that we should probably go with IKEA and see how it is. Once we worked with the second designer, slashed the prices, super happy, but it took us 3 hours to again get it done. So we moved a lot of stuff, replaced smaller things, like instead of glass cabinets, we just said, okay, let's put like a normal cabinet, but instead of 2 small spice racks, let's put 1 spice rack. So small things like that completely slash the prices because you're just not putting 1 cabinet, right? You're like replicating multiple cabinets. So the price adds up. So I think you have to be very careful and be very comfortable asking a lot of questions. You're very comfortable with the designer and they're very professional, thorough professionals. So once the designer is all set and done, there is a supervisor designer who comes and basically checks everything and ensures the design is correct and everything is in place, including the parts and everything that they have to supply for it. Once it's signed off, basically you just go do your payment and then you have an IKEA kitchen. So once you buy the kitchen, you will get a day and a date and everything, and IKEA will deliver the products. Obviously we chose IKEA to deliver it to a place, and the best part is experience wise, if it's 10 o'clock tomorrow, it is 10 o'clock tomorrow. So it's not like keep on waiting and they don't come. So once it's all done, people come and get the kitchen all set up and installed. That's the process. It's pretty seamless and they tell you everything, and you will, before every single thing happens, you will get a phone call for confirmation. You will also get an email. So process wise, it was an extremely good experience. I think the only glitch here what I saw is I wish the designer one understood us better by telling us what we could do so we could fit things into our budget. Now what happened was, because we could slash the whole kitchen budget into half, we also could add like the worktop, because initially we decided we will not buy any appliances, and worktop and tiles are the one that goes in the backsplash of the kitchen from IKEA because it was very expensive. We thought we could get it done locally because the prices came down. So we did add up on our budget and get things done as well. That is the process. Next is the pricing. So initially when we did the design, it came up to I think around 4 lakh plus. And then it was a bit of a shock because I was like, oh my God, I really like how it looks and the design. But given the tiny space, I somehow felt it was the most expensive room of the entire apartment. Of course, it was very exciting to see how small changes and replacements could bring down the price as well. So be very careful about the handles you're choosing. Like even some cabinets will have like, you basically don't need to have a handle, but they'll say you can put a handle. So if you put a handle, for every single handle you'll be charged, right? So small things you have to like see for yourself and then decide. Even the whether it's glossy or matte or what kind of everything that you choose has a price point. Don't be afraid to ask a lot of questions. Price came down to around 2 lakhs, and then we added the worktop on it. We still have not bought the backsplash tiles because the COVID cases are so high right now. Probably will do it later. And once everything is done and the kitchen is completely like finalized, I'll definitely give a small tour. to ensure you understand what I'm saying and then what you see. But yeah, that will come up soon. Maybe end of this month, maybe next month. I'm not sure yet because it's still not completely done. Experience wise, like I said, it's been amazing. It's very to the point. It's people are very friendly. You have multiple checks. Even when we actually did the final payment, there were a couple of kitchen cabinets that were not in stock. So they told us like this amount you can pay now, and we will ship it. I mean, we will get it to your place, but these are the ones that are not in stock right now. However, this is the tentative date when they'll come, and when it does, we'll give you a call. You can come and pick it up for yourself. And they did call, and it was before the timeline they gave us. So the process is pretty seamless. You don't have to follow up with IKEA follows up with you, which is, I think, a huge change from when you're dealing with perhaps a lot of local carpenters, unless they're like staying in your house and getting everything done. That is probably a separate experience. But I remember when we were doing the kitchen for this house, it was done by a local carpenter. It works great, it's very sturdy, but I somehow feel the space wasn't as well utilized as the one we have now. It's a way smaller kitchen, but I can fit everything in, and I think it's way more functional. I hope this experience helps, and if you are trying to work with IKEA, I think I would highly recommend it. Now, obviously, I'm sure you know this is not sponsored. I pretty much have been shopping in IKEA for a really long time now, and the experience always has been very good, very professional, and very friendly staff. And even if you don't end up going with IKEA, I think that's the best part. You can still go to IKEA and you can get your kitchen designed and look at the price point and then decide whether you want to go for it or not. If you choose not to go for it, you can absolutely choose. I think there is an initial payment when you go for the designing, and then if you think the price point is way higher, you can always choose not to go with IKEA. But I think we also went with the same mentality. Let's go and see what it is, because unless you go, you never know. So let's try, and then we can decide whether you want to go with IKEA or not. And then we just loved the whole design and experience so much, we just decided to go for it. Alright, so that's all for today. If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe and give a thumbs up. And I hope you're safe. Stay home, stay safe, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.